Hi, I'm Rebecca M. Zornow, an indie science fiction author, a speculative fiction book coach, and author of It's Over or It's Eden. We're going to be talking about my top tips for book marketing. But first, let's talk about what I did this month so you can get a sense of what that flow is like for an indie author. I did a signing at an indie bookstore. It was exciting connecting with readers I wouldn't have otherwise gotten to know. I updated my business plan because I'm filming this in December of 2021, and I always make sure I go back to that business plan at the end of the year and update it with my goals for next year, but then also just really appreciate everything that I've done so far this year. I resubmitted all of my short stories that hadn't found a home yet to magazines and other publications, and so hopefully with a big mass of those going out, something will stick. I updated my author blog, my newsletter, my finances. I did an online campaign for signed books, and the biggest thing I did, I hit 82,000 words and the end of the first draft for my current work in progress. So this is a standalone novel. It's my debut novel. It's a science fiction first contact story. My next story is going to be a duology, so 2 books, and it's a space opera with strong romantic themes. I wouldn't call it a romance, just strong romantic themes, I think is plenty. So that was really the bulk of what I was working on, setting those word count goals throughout the month, as well as keeping up with marketing this thing and my other author duties throughout the month. So I've been thinking a lot about book marketing, of course, having a book to market, and also connecting and working with other authors who have books to market. And book marketing can feel like this huge, endless pit of despair where everything you do, you don't know if it's actually going to result in new readers and book sales. And it's something that traditional authors need to focus on. It's something that independent authors need to focus on. Pretty much everybody in the book world is thinking about how they can balance their art, their craft of writing, with getting that into the hands of readers, and in a thoughtful way. I think everybody realizes that you only have so many hours, and you want to do marketing stuff that you enjoy, and you want to do marketing stuff that benefits your author business. So I thought about what that was for me, and I'd like to share that with you in case you're getting ready to market a book, in case you have an old book that needs some new legs to stand on. So the first thing is setting up an author webpage and an author newsletter. And that seems on the forefront like a simple no-brainer thing, but a lot of authors set their homepages up in a way that it's not doing the most for them. I think that it's really important to keep author websites simple, to make it easy to navigate. You have to assume, though, that everyone coming to your website knows nothing. Assume they know nothing. And so break it down and make it as easy as possible for them to understand what books you have out there, what's the order they should be reading them in, how can they connect with you, but also not let your webpage get bogged down with all these superfluous things. And I think that's important too, to keep it manageable for yourself, because you should be updating this author website from time to time. I go to a lot of author websites, and I always feel kind of strange when I see that their blog hasn't been updated since 2018. And I wonder, is their writing really the career that they're focusing on? Is this a side thing? Did they start it and then get burnt out on it? Whatever the reason is, I think that if you're not going to be doing those updates, you need to take that blog off of your website. Or if I find in their events section that they have old dates from, several years ago, I wonder, well, are they doing author events? What's going on here? And so it's easy to forget about, but you do need to check your author website every once in a while, update those broken links, and do that maintenance and that management. You should have on every page of your website a place for people to sign up for your newsletter. And I hear that a lot of writers get scared about writing a newsletter because it's about ourselves, right? And when we write our stories, yes, we're crafting and we're telling something that we want to share with other people. But I think that people fall into the trap of thinking that a newsletter needs to be all promotion all the time. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to burn out the readers that you're connecting with. On the other end of the spectrum, lots of people suggest that, like, oh, your newsletter is how you're building community. And I think that a good newsletter can do that after a long time, but I prefer more to think about it as I am building relationships with reader friends, because those reader friends aren't really going to know each other, but they will sense that they're part of, something bigger. But at the same time, these aren't just individuals that you want to make a quick sale off of. These are your patrons. These are people who enjoy and think thoughtfully about your work. And of course, you want to connect with them because that brings things full circle. You're welcome to sign up for my author newsletter to see how it goes. I send out an automation right away when people sign up with like some basic information and a free short story. And then I send out my newsletter monthly with some fun updates. I try to keep it really streamlined and include things that bring readers and other writers some value for opening up the newsletter. And then every once in a while, when there's something big like a book launch going on, I will send like a second email that month. Some authors send out their newsletters weekly, and I think it really depends on who your base is, how often they're reading. Romance readers can just tear through novel after novel after novel, and maybe that fits more their reading style, that they want to get those weekly updates. They're definitely two things worth investing some time in. You can use a free MailChimp account. You can, set up a WordPress website. You don't have to invest a lot of money, but you do need something to come up when people Google your name. On the other side of this, a lot of people talk about social media as this, big force behind author sales. And I think what we're realizing in the publishing world is just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean that translates into a lot of readers, and doesn't mean that that translates into a lot of readers who are willing to spend money on the things that you write. It's better to have a smaller network. It's better to be consistent on one platform than it is spreading yourself thin and, just following people in hopes that they follow you back, getting up to 100,000 followers on Twitter, and then you just never connect with everybody because your Twitter feed is so full of 100,000 other people that you're trying to keep in touch with. And there's a lot of, that reciprocating, like, oh, follow me, I'll follow you back kind of deal. And I don't think that really benefits people in the long run. For social media, I suggest you only do what you enjoy, because if you're not really enjoying it, if you get on TikTok and you're trying to do dances and you feel really embarrassed, people are going to sense that. So why bother wasting your time with something that you're not going to enjoy and you're not going to be consistent with? You also should remember you don't own that contact list. On any social media platform, that social media platform host has the ability to close down your page, has the ability to control how often people are seeing your content. And so that's why I think it's important for authors to be driving people back to their newsletter, for authors to be helping people get used to looking at their author website, because if Facebook goes down for 24 hours and you have a book launch, you're not going to be reaching those readers. Or if Twitter decides that you violated something and deletes your account, you're never going to get back those original subscribers. And then for social media, just so it doesn't become so much of a time drain, really consider with each post, how is it helping you and your business? It's different if you have a social media account for fun and you're just getting connected, than it is if you are doing this during your business hours, expecting it to have some results for your author business. And so, really be thinking about subtle ways that you can keep things professional, keep things moving forward, and not getting sucked up in the latest, trending content that really isn't going to bring you any readers or help you connect with the people you want to. So think about, how is it benefiting you as a writer? The third thing I want to talk about is the press. And I think that because social media is such a heavy focus, a lot of writers overlook this, traditional press area. I do suggest that authors send out press releases when they have big news. I do suggest authors build relationships with news outlets, whether they're local, regional, or national, because that's a free marketing opportunity if you can swing it. And it has a very powerful base and a lot of oomph when it comes to people finding you online. Another thing that's important for, like if a podcast is, going to interview you, or if your local paper is going to do an article on you, when people Google your name or look you up online, wherever they search, having those internet breadcrumbs, I think, is really important. If you are querying agents, they are going to look you up, and it would be really great if they see that, like, oh, people are already talking about this up and coming writer. Or if a new reader Googles your name and it's just your website and then nothing, they're going to wonder, like, well, how many people are really reading their stuff? Maybe I shouldn't then, if it's not like a sure good read or a popular thing. So put those asks out there, network and connect. And I know that that's difficult, but when it comes to free marketing, working with the press is a no-brainer in my mind. A lot of authors do ads on Facebook or Amazon, or they'll run a BookBub ad and all of these things. And I think that authors, even with limited budgets, should build into their budget small amounts to be testing and trying these things out, so that they can build their advertising wheelhouse, that they understand what makes somebody click. They understand, how to analyze those data results. Even if you're just running an ad for $20 to, try and get people to follow your newsletter, or, follow you on Facebook. It's good to start building those small steps, so that when you do have something bigger to market, like a book launch, or you are getting some real traction with your backlist, you have some experience and expertise that you can put into some major ad spending. Finally, this is kind of a abstract thing, but keeping some good perspective, I think, is important. It is really hard to do a lot of asking, and it is really hard to put yourself out there and feel like you're on display and wonder what people, are thinking of you. But just going ahead and doing it, I feel, is easier if you keep the perspective that not everybody is going to be your ideal reader, and that is okay. You don't want to try and write a book that is marketable to everybody, because then odds are nobody's going to like it. You have to make some decisions about who you are marketing to. And if you have, coworkers or friends, who said that they're going to pick up your book and haven't picked it up yet, like, that is okay. Let go of that. If you are sharing about your writing on social media and it just seems like, gosh, nobody else is like understanding what my niche is, like, that is okay. These things take time to build. They will not build, though, if you just give up. Not everybody is going to be your ideal reader, and so releasing that expectation, I think, makes it a whole lot easier when you do face things like rejection or a passive, soft no from somebody. Finally, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. A lot of people do want to help you, but they don't know how you want to be helped. And when we make specific asks, lots of people follow through. If you just say, like, gosh, I wish people would support my author business, that's not going to carry much weight. But if you say to, your newsletter list, like, I'm trying to get, up to 50 reviews on Goodreads, could you guys help me get there? Like, that is a specific, actionable, manageable thing that somebody can do for you. And so don't be afraid to ask for exactly what you need, and you just might, end up with something really wonderful. So the last thing we're going to talk about is what's next for me in January, what I'm working on. So I told you that I reached 82,000 words in my current work in progress. So I'm going to be doing 2 editing passes, one focusing specifically on characters, character descriptions, character arcs, and motivations, and one pass on like the setting, the scenery, the details, the senses in each scene, and doing that to prepare my book for a developmental edit, which will go to the developmental editor in February. I am working on booking a cover artist. I'm writing a blurb for the book so that I can share it with the developmental editor and share it with the cover artist, and start seeing what I'm going to use to market this next book. I'm reaching out to some indie stores that have my book online on their website to see how we can get connected on print copies. I'm doing some newsletter building and running a contest. I'm going to be doing this in January. So if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or if you subscribe, you'll probably see it. But I'm going to be asking for people to sign up for my newsletter who follow me on these other platforms, because of what we talked about earlier, like how essential it is to build your newsletter and have like a direct contact with individuals, not just a social media contact. But I'm going to be doing a drawing of everybody who subscribes and name a character after somebody. So I'm excited. I think that'll be fun. That's one of the fun things you can do when you are marketing. Just think about, what would you like as a reader? I'm going to write and submit a short story. I'm going to update my author blog and run my newsletter for the month. And I have not yet built a link tree. And I think that is a shortcoming. So I'm going to rectify that. I just feel like I've got so many links. I need it all in one place that I can share it with people and help them see, like, oh, I want to buy the book. Oh, I want to talk about book coaching. Oh, I want to follow you on TikTok. Like, see exactly where they want to go. So that's what I'm working on in January. And I just did my goal setting for the year and kind of tallied everything up for this past year. And I just think there is so much beauty and value in taking these pause moments at the end of the year and reflecting on everything that you've done, enjoying your accomplishments. So many times we forget to really reward ourselves for the hard work that we're doing. But then also look forward and anticipate all the great things coming in 2022. Happy New Year. Bye.